They have successfully created the space-time blister that Penrose's theory describes, but with a glass bead instead of a tubulin protein. Now, the critical observation begins. The experiment is a waiting game. The physicists monitor the sphere's position, looking for the telltale signature of a spontaneous collapse. According to Penrose's equation, given the mass of the nanosphere and the separation distance they created, they can calculate the predicted lifetime tau. For a typical experiment, this might be on the order of milliseconds to seconds. If, after many trials, they observe that the superpositions consistently decay at or around this predicted time, it would be groundbreaking evidence for objective reduction. It would show that gravity does indeed play a role in resolving quantum uncertainty. These experiments are at the absolute cutting edge of modern physics. They are incredibly difficult to perform, as they require pushing technology to its limits to fight against every possible source of environmental decoherence. However, they offer a clean, unambiguous path to testing the new physics proposed by Penrose. Unlike the messy biological experiment, there are far fewer confounding variables. The mass of the nanosphere is known precisely, the vacuum is controlled, and the temperature is managed. The system is designed from the ground up to be a perfect testbed for fundamental physics. The results of these levitated particle experiments will have profound implications for our original question. If they fail, if the superpositions last much longer than Penrose predicts and only decay due to known sources of decoherence, then the physical foundation of OR would crumble. But if these experiments succeed, if they confirm the gravity-induced collapse model in a non-biological system, the situation changes dramatically. It would prove that the physical mechanism required by OR is real. The debate would then shift back to biology, but with a crucial new piece of evidence, the spooky physical process required for quantum consciousness would have been shown to be a genuine feature of our universe. The stage is set for the definitive biological experiment where quantum gravity meets neuroscience in the lab. Every step is pre-registered and transparent, locking in the protocol before a single neuron is touched. We use cultured neuronal networks or rodent brain slices, split into control and test groups, with every variable tightly controlled. Double-blind procedures and coded samples ensure unbiased results. Multiple control conditions, including unrelated isotopic substitutions and microtubule targeting drugs, guard against confounds. Only with this fortress of rigor can we trust what the experiment reveals. The experiment's heart is isotopic labeling, feeding neurons amino acids with heavy carbon-13 for the test group and standard carbon-12 for controls. Ideally, the heavy isotope targets only the microtubule regions implicated by OR, isolating the mass change. Mass spectrometry confirms the precise incorporation of isotopes, ensuring no unintended cellular changes. Neuronal health and function are checked. If basic properties differ, the experiment fails. Only when both groups are identical, except for microtubule mass, do we proceed. Now, we search for the signature of consciousness. With verified cultures, we stimulate neural networks and record their electrical activity. Microelectrode arrays capture gamma band oscillations, OR's predicted signature. We analyze hundreds of trials, measuring the exact gamma frequency for each. The goal: detect a subtle, systematic shift in frequency between groups. Secondary measures, amplitude and network connectivity, help interpret results. Computational theories predict no frequency shift, OR predicts a change. The data will decide. Thousands of gamma frequency measurements are pooled for blind analysis. The statistician compares Group A and Group B following the pre-registered protocol. Scenario A: a significant frequency increase in the test group. OR's prediction confirmed. Scenario B: no difference. Computational theories hold. Only after analysis is the code revealed, confirming which group was which. Either result is decisive, a bombshell for quantum consciousness, or a strong case for computation. The experiment forces nature to answer. The experiment's outcome splits the future of consciousness research. A null result strengthens computational theories. consciousness as information processing, no new physics required. AI and neuroscience double down on replicating the brain's architecture, blurring the line between human and machine. But a positive result, an isotope-induced frequency shift, would revolutionize science. It would be the first empirical evidence linking quantum gravity to consciousness. The mind would be tied to the cosmos, validating Penrose and Hameroff. Either way, the experiment reshapes our understanding of what it means to be conscious. A positive result in the mass invariance test would do more than just validate one theory. It would open up an entirely new field of scientific inquiry, a kind of quantum biophysics of the mind. The focus would shift from mapping the brain's classical connectome to understanding its quantum dynamics. Scientists would race to explore the precise mechanisms of the Orch-OR model. How exactly do microtubules shield themselves from decoherence? What is the nature of the orchestration that guides the collapse outcomes? How does this process scale up from individual neurons to produce the unified, rich tapestry of our subjective world? The tools of neuroscience would merge with the tools of quantum physics, with researchers using techniques from both domains to probe the delicate interplay of biology and space-time geometry. This new paradigm would suggest that life is not just a clever arrangement of classical chemistry, but that it has, through billions of years of evolution, learned to harness the most subtle and fundamental laws of the universe. The unique properties of biological matter, the specific structure of proteins, the behavior of water within cells, would be seen not as incidental details, but as essential components of a quantum machine. It would imply that consciousness is not something that can be easily engineered in any substrate, but that it might be a rare phenomenon, requiring the specific, finely tuned conditions found only within biological systems. The future of AI would be completely re-evaluated. To build a truly conscious machine, we might first need to build an artificial, living cell. The philosophical implications would be immense. If consciousness is tied to a non-computable process involving quantum gravity, it would affirm Penrose's original intuition that human understanding and creativity have a quality that transcends algorithms. It would place a fundamental physical dividing line between the authentic consciousness produced by a biological brain and the simulated intelligence of a digital computer. This could provide a scientific basis for what many have felt intuitively, that there is something special, something irreducible about living, conscious beings.